My name's Thomas Waddle. This is the Whisky Sour Hour, and we're joined by our esteemed guest, Calum Petrie, for the fourth or fifth time now. So thanks for coming on, Calum. How you doing?
Well, no problem. I'm just surprised you keep asking me to come back on, but thank you.
It's just it's one of those kind of emerging scenes, or emerging scenes. It's like I don't think people realise the scale of gaming. And recently, I'm saying recently, we've been doing the podcast for it'll be coming up a year at the beginning of February. So we're 10 months in. And just for the ability to have stuff to talk about, I find myself getting into like television more than what already was, which was a lot anyway, films, and getting back into gaming. When we spoke earlier on the phone, like getting the reward points, like you're sitting at like something like £120 or something. I'm sitting with close to like 25, which is minute in scale of that. But yeah, just it's the ability to get into it. And I don't think people realise just how big the industry is and the gazillions of pounds. So it's dwarfs most arts and medias. So getting you on, getting good chat and going for there, it's always a pleasure. So again, thanks for coming on, mate.
Absolutely no problem at all. Thank you.
So just kind of what's kind of been happening with yourself just before we kind of crack on. Is there kind of anything in the pipeline for you? You just kind of keeping it chill for this time of the year. We're December, try to wind the year down. Or are you doing anything in particular?
No, this is the kind of point of the year where my work gets the busiest. So really, I'm just enjoying my downtime, but I'm not at work.
I don't envy retail workers. The closest I came to that was the 6 months I spent at Arnold Clark, and that was hell anyway. So I can only imagine it worse for yourself when people are looking for. I was going to say cranberry sauce, but that's an American thing. But where's the bread sauce, son? And you're like, oh, just leave me alone.
It's There's nothing worse than working Christmas Eve as a retail worker in a supermarket or a shop of any sort. Just all common sense goes out the window that day.
Ah, of course it does. Of course it does. It's like last minute shoppers and stuff like that. My first real girlfriend, if you remember, Braehead opens up to like 12. I think I don't know if it still does it, but it used to, on the build up to Christmas, be 12, and I think it was like 7 o'clock in Christmas Eve, and they were like, I don't have anything for my mum or dad or you, and I had to like go to Braehead with them. It was absolute hell on earth, man. It was, I think The Walking Dead had just came out, and I think it was like Rick Grimes, kind of trying to get out of there in time, man. It was pretty freaky, but yeah, no, I do not envy you. So you've only got what 21 days, 3 weeks, I think, for the recording Christmas, and then you've got that kind of period where you don't know what day it is, don't know what time it is. You're just like, let's just get to the new year.
Limbo week.
Aye,
But thanks. I
no,
was going
sorry.
to say thank you for your pity. Thank you.
That's it. My 2 week off period and that I'll be thinking about you and I'm blasting through, like I don't know, Dave the Diver or something later on. uh, if you were saying something there, I think the camera will be on me, but I was getting the two-fingered salute there, so we'll try to keep it PG.
That's exactly why I did it.
But yeah, no, listen, that's it, mate. Just survive and thrive and get through that. So, obviously, we had planned on doing this a lot earlier and stuff, but just a lot of kind of external factors that kind of stopped it between. I was just genuinely just burnt out between work and moving house and setting up the studio and everything. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to notice if the show isn't going up. It was just there was a week there where it just wasn't feasible with everything that was going on. So back into a really good cadence, kind of getting everything sorted. So it's exciting for that. And obviously speaking with yourself recently, it was we were going to do this, and it just for whatever reasons, it, like I mentioned there, it just took it took a little while to get going. And when we were going to do it, there was an Xbox showcase, which actually turned out to be a bit of a kind of damp squib. I would have thought. I was expecting a wee bit more, but I don't know about you. Did you expect anything from it?
It was when I saw it was a third party showcase. I wasn't overly thrilled. I'm kind of more interested to see what the first party studios are bringing out. But I watched it in preparation for doing this, and I'm not gonna lie, I had to look over some websites to remember what was actually on the showcase.
There was a lot of stuff on there I felt was maybe I wouldn't say underwhelming. It's just it's like, and I always feel like, when I look back, because I'll go back and I'll listen to the shows and just try and pick up on things like, maybe I can do better with that, or should I pressed in this or whatever. I sometimes find them maybe a little bit too, or I sound really dour. I actually really enjoy most games, and if somebody likes something, like I do, obviously I'm mad into your Dark Souls, but that absolutely does nothing for me. But again, I'm not going to yuck your yum for that. So there was a lot of games here where I was like, oh, I'm not really feeling this. There was maybe three potentially that I'm like are quite exciting, and one of them was just the reveal of a car. So that shows you the level we're at here. It was half an hour. It done the job, but again, I suppose that's what you want. It's just something for everyone, but not to the point where it's like jack of all trades, master of none. There was some like the highs were high, I think, but you know, and not that the lows were low for me. I'm sure people are excited for them, but yeah, it was just it was a middle of the road kind of thing in the middle of November. Nothing too major.
For it only been half an hour, like they managed to show quite a lot of games. So if you weren't interested in something, it's like another minute or two, and they were on to something else. Like nothing. There was no kind of developer interviews or documentaries or anything. It was just trailer, 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 trailer.
Yeah, I always find it when they do the trailer, like it's like it's almost like there's no time to breathe. It's like watching a comedy film that's that funny. You're trying to remember like five jokes back. You're like, what was that? It's kind of catching you. I do miss the days of like a right good E3, well produced conference that things can go wrong. These talking heads and like the kind of, is it the volume, just with the background, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit, but. Going kind of back over it, the kind of three things that jumped out for me. I don't know about you. The announcement that Aston Martin is going to be James Bond's car, the Aston Martin Valhalla, for the new First Light game. It looks rather sexy, and it's got like the weapons inside it. It's not like a joke. Like Daniel Craig's one was always like, it's got an oil slick. It does all this. So this has shotgun, so you're going to be maiming some people. Dave the Diver is coming to Xbox, which is one of those games I'd been looking at, wanting. It's that kind of pixel art. It looks quite a cozy game, which I'm all for. Your kind of Stardew Valley, almost kind of thing. And lastly, I just wanted to double check there because I keep getting mixed up because IO, who are making the James Bond game, obviously do Hitman, World of Assassinations, and the crossover that everybody had in their bingo card was you're going to be able to hunt down Stan. With Eminem, so that's pretty exciting. Was there anything else there? Obviously, there was a lot of games that we've kind of skipped over just for time reasons. But was there anything there that kind of jumped out at you, that you were quite looking forward to?
So there was a game, Armistice,
Yes.
and like I swear to God, it popped up and I was like, "This is Darksiders. This is Darksiders. This is a new Darksiders game." Because it looked very much like there was a top down where you played as War and was it Strife? I can't remember. It was Genesis, Darksiders Genesis, and I thought this was maybe the other Horseman getting his own game because he used guns. But no, it just I'm pretty sure THQ Nordic are coming at them with a lawsuit for copyright infringement.
I think I mean that's a weird one. I remember Darksiders coming out, and it has all the highlights that I look for in a game. Just never got around to playing it. Even with and I'm going to butcher the name. It was it the War Master Edition or something. There was like an edition that came out for the modern consoles. Uh, and I've just never got around to doing it. But again, it has everything that I want, and I think there is a new one in development. I don't know whether it's 4 or 5 we're on now, but it's probably time that I pick up at least the first one and give it a go because I think Mark Hamill's in it as a voice, I believe.
Mark Hamill plays your kind of watcher character. He's been sent to keep an eye on you. The first one, it's very much like a multi-platform Zelda. It definitely has that kind of dungeon crawling feel in it. The second one I've never actually completed, the one where you play as Death, and that cranks up from like the first one's set in a post-apocalyptic Earth. The second one is Death going through kind of the realms of creation and stuff. So much more fantasy.
No, as I say, I loved the art design there. I think there was a third one where you played as a female character, whether it was it Pestilence or Strife or something. Her name was.
Maybe that
I'm no sure, but again, it came out at that time after THQ, who was that kind of middle ground publisher. They were never publishing like massive AAA games, but they pumped out a lot of quality in the kind of late '90s, mid to late 2000s. You had like the WWE games from them, Red Faction. And a particular favourite of mine was the original UFC games, the Undisputed games that came out. They became an annualised franchise before EA took them over, and never really done anything with them, in my opinion, even though there's been five of them. But THQ were always there, and then once it had been sold and the Saints Row and stuff had all been divvied up between whoever got them, and it came back. It was for the name brand recognition, I suppose, but I never I've not bought really into what they're doing now, just because it's time. I don't have loads of time to play games, so if I can sit down and get something, especially like if I can get with the Black Friday sales and stuff and the end of the year sales coming up, I certainly will look to pick that up over my wee break over Christmas. So I'm looking forward to that. Is there anyone you would recommend, the first or the second, or even the third one, I suppose?
first sets up the kind of the story. There is an overarching story between one and two. I think three acts as a prequel. So in three you play as Fury.
So no, even a horseman, then just a
Uh,
character.
It's one of the four horsemen.
I
So
thought,
it's
is it?
War, Death, Fury, and Strife. I think they've taken some creative liberties with that.
Right, okay. Because as I say, pestilence. I'm talking about like the age of apocalypse. That's the horseman. I'm thinking of X-Men here. So maybe they've taken creative liberties, but yeah.
The first one I would recommend. The second one's really good, and Genesis is a kind of prequel uh, back to like the beginning. Uh, they're enjoyable. Like I'm pretty sure right now on Xbox that the War Master edition is going for like £4, which is a steal.
Ooh, that is a steal. And I just want to kind of make it clear as well. I think I was on the I don't even know what you would call it, the kind of in the bills of Twitter. I'll sometimes go in there because it is a good place to get some news. It can be a bit of a cesspit for other things as well. But when you're on there, people these days, and I don't remember this being such a thing like back in the day, because like I said to you, you had those double A publishers who put out games that were solid sixes and sevens, and you still really enjoyed them, like the Disney games that THQ used to put out, the Finding Nemos and stuff. Now that's like quite young, and the Incredibles and those kind of ones. They were always good, but they were never going to win Game of the Year. But you still played them, and I feel like people now only ever chat about tens. It has to be a 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. See if there's something's an eight, it's a disaster. And I think everybody's bought into that, and I don't think that's fair on a lot of games, especially people put a lot of heart and soul into them, and it may not be a mega hit, but it's no terrible either. 87s, eights are fine, even a six.
Like it's kind of went the same way that the film industry's going. Like a lot of people will see that if Rotten Tomatoes gives something like an 80% or below, they think it's not even worth watching, and that's all the crap. The games industry, if you think back to like the PS2 era, like I'm sitting here, I've still got PS2 games down here that I'm telling myself that one day I will go back and play. But like how the fact that the market was so big for those games, and I'm pretty sure I played games that you realise were rated like 4 out of 10 and stuff, and I enjoyed. Like the time that's when games were a bit more experimental, but now the fact that budgets are so big, much like you talked about with films, the budgets are that big, they've got to claw their money back. Like the risks aren't there anymore. But that's probably why over the last like, year or two, there's been such a big resurgence of like indie gaming and the small publishers. I'm pretty sure it was Larry and Studios kind of came out and said that at the Game Awards last year that uh, I'm sure they gave a speech about how the smaller, more creative studios are going to basically take over, and so they should.
No, definitely. I think, especially when you're seeing some. I mean, I've spoken in the past how I enjoy like the FIFA, EAFC. Like I'll enjoy playing those. EA have just been taken over by like the Saudi wealth fund, and there's a kind of ickiness to that. It's like billions and billions of pounds. Even some of the acquisitions that Xbox does, or Microsoft. I am obviously reaping the benefits of being able to play some like ridiculously good games at a cheap price, but there is a it kind of stifles creativity, especially when there's hundreds of millions on the line. I think there's talk of like Grand Theft Auto being £100 to buy, but it's because it cost 1 point whatever billion to make, and I totally believe that. But creativity will not be stifled with that. The check is blank when it comes to Rockstar, but for other companies, especially the likes of EA and even the likes of Insomniac, I imagine Spider-Man 2, if they had the time and an unlimited budget, it wouldn't have been as disappointing. Even though it was a really good game, it was a bit of a letdown compared to the first one. And again, people go on like that's the end of the world. It's still a great game, just not as good as the other one. The first one, even Miles Morales was a bit of a step down, but they're still solid eights. But that to people is the end of the world.
No, I totally concur. Like people have got to stop looking at a rating system as the kind of be all and end all of why if that's motivating you to play a game or watch a film or whatever. Like there's people taking personal preference off and just going off other people's opinions, which is somebody who reviewed video games for quite a few years. I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm not gonna lie. I'd never read any other reviews. I wrote reviews, but I never read them. I've always kind of played what I've wanted to play, and if something doesn't take my fancy, then if a friend recommends it to me, I'll probably give it a go. I've done that a lot with kind of book recommendations, but I've not like you uh, you would read the occasional IGN thing, didn't you? Shouldn't badmouth them too much because we actually went on a trip to London because of them.
I know, remember that for Quantum Break. I was hoping to see
Yeah,
Sam Lake, but I think he was no well, and we're like, oh, but it was Thomas Poor that was there, and it was still very good. So yeah, we'll give him that.
yeah, but why did I go down that
I
rabbit
I
hole again?
I used
Oh,
to read
IGN,
IGN.
like there was a lot of kind of controversy over IGN and kind of paid for reviews and things, and I think they were just kind of embroiled in a lot of shady practices and money hungry. And if there was money going, I never saw any of that for reviews. Like some free games, that was it.
I think it all goes back to, and I remember being chronically online when it became like you were able to do it a bit more. Like laptops were becoming a bit more. Even before like smartphones, you still would go out with your Nokia 3310. But it was a Jeff Gershman. I'd get it. Jeff Gershman, I'm sure that's his name, and it was the I was going to say Kane and Abel, but it was a Kane and Lynch review, and apparently like Ubisoft had paid money, and I mean this is 2007, so we're talking nearly 20 years ago, which is disgusting. Let's not mention that, but that was the first time it became aware to me that hold on a minute, people actually aren't telling the truth, and these aren't like just independent reviewers. And then after that, I would always use these places as like good places to kind of see the breaking news. But like I said to you there, like you go on Twitter because there is like independent people that you trust, with anything they break, you're like, right, this is likely going to be true. So yeah, no, we've kind of went down a bit of a tangent here just on like kind of stuff that's been interesting with regards to the kind of gaming industry, because a lot of people I don't think understand just again how big it is, and just how like a review can ruin a game. We mentioned IGN there. I don't know if you ever played Alien Isolation, but they gave Alien Isolation a 4 out of 10, which is an absolute travesty. And I would say crippled the game for nearly 12 years. And we've only just recently got announcement that after years and years of fan support, that we're eventually going to get a sequel to arguably one of the greatest survival horror games of all time. So
It's on my to play list. I did buy it a few years ago. Just it's one of these ones that I need to be in a frame of mind to try, but I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
It's terrifying. it's one of the few games. It's not a spoiler or anything, but you go down in an elevator about 2/3 of the way through it, and the door opens, and just stuff is going down, and I immediately saved the game and was like, I don't feel ready to play this for a good 2 months until I got up the courage to do it, and then it was a case of I played it maybe half an hour at a time just to kind of get to the next save point. I was like, that was enough. That was enough. So yeah, no, like I think the media landscape, even with movies to an extent, because you've got your Rotten Tomatoes, like it pops up on like a film, and it's like a big thing. The Wicked film that came out, Wicked for Good. Again, not a film that I'm interested in seeing, but it's almost like fans are that want it to be good because obviously they want it to be good, but there's also that kind of validation of I really like this, and it's got a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is like fine, cool. But I think because it got like a 70 and then it had like a big bump at the first weekend and now it's fell away rapidly, it's almost seen as a failure in the eyes of a lot of people when the reality is if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I'm a big Michael Bay Transformers fan, and I can see you squirming in your chair there. But I just, if you like it, you like it. It is what it is, and if it makes money, great. Because at the end of the day, the critical reception and money are two totally different things, and they care more about the money than they do critical reception, unless they're wanting to win Oscars. But that's a totally different chat we'd be having there. But as
Well,
a
I've
whole,
just looked.
oh, sorry,
Sorry,
no,
I've just looked at
it's a
something.
delay. Sorry.
So you're talking about the kind of differences between the kind of film industry and kind of video games and how much money's in it. So I've just looked for the UK film industry gross revenue for 2024 includes the box office approximately 979 million with a total production spend of 5.6 billion.
Well,
So the UK video game industry gross revenue for 2024 was approximately 7.6 billion.
that's that's it's absolutely crazy when you get to the billions. You just wonder to yourself, like, how, how are people getting underpaid? Why are we closing down studios, man? It is ridiculous. That is obscene. That's like small countries and the kind of Caribbean, GDP. So that's wild.
Yeah. I think the difference comes with like films and video games though when it's a lot of kind of if you're putting licensed music and things in it. Was another thing with Forza Horizon 4. It went off Game Pass for because or it came off Game Pass altogether because something about the one of the licenses had run out for the songs in it.
Yeah, no, so it happens with the majority of games, especially like card games, because you're not only got the licenses for the music, but you've got the licenses for the vehicles as well. So it's usually, I want to say, maybe like 3 or 4 years. So basically, Forza Horizon came out in 2012. Then every 2 years after that, there was a new one. So two came out in 2014, and then around 2015, I think I'm pretty sure it was before Forza Horizon 3 came out in 2016. Forza Horizon 1 was basically shelved. Like you can still buy it physically, but when it comes to digital, it was on awful digital storefronts because the licenses that you mentioned. And I think for a while as well, I want to say I think it was Toyota. They basically didn't want to put their cars in games, and or they signed an agreement that it was, I think it was maybe like Gran Turismo or something, and then it was a big deal when they came back, and I think Forza Horizon 4. So listen, it's a bit sad, and that's why I mean we could go into a kind of discussion just regarding the I was going to say historical games, but just like the preservation of games and just how it's the ability to play them. A game that you can only play on like PS3, like Metal Gear Solid 4, Sons of the Patriots. Or is that what it's called? Guns of the Patriots, Sons of Liberty is the second one. Sorry, I'm getting confused there. That's all you can only play that on there. Although it's probably going to come with this volume 2 of the Metal Gear collection, but again, like that's down the road, and is it coming? Who knows? But there is a lot of games that are just lost to time, whether they're on a console or a handset or a phone or the I was going to say PT, probably the most iconic demo of all time. If you get a PlayStation with that on it, you're looking hundreds and hundreds of pounds just to be able to play 20 minutes of Guillermo del Toro, Hideo Kojima, Norman Reedus game before Death Stranding came out. So
Is it a dream? Is it a game or is it a fever dream? I would call it a fever dream.
it's I've watched it like because I was interested in seeing like how is this going to play out, like what is this, and it was bizarre. Don't know if I would call it scary or that, but it was very very weird anyway. So
Very Silent Hill.
I don't, what was it? Was it Silent Hills? It was called. It was PT, but it was
Silent
actually
Hills is a
yeah. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's going to play out. I feel like Silent Hills after the third one is or Silent Hill after the third one is kind of a bit played out. The room and stuff like I don't
they
know.
they released a new one recently, Silent Hill F.
And do you know how that done? Is
I
that
have heard hee-haw about it, so probably it's never like it was always something to kind of be excited about when like those first three Silent Hill games came out.
mm,
Even the fourth one was creepy, but after that, like they stopped being something of fanfare because they stopped being as good.
I know.
But it was
It just became at the point where it was like the the kind of it became quite cliche. I thought like skimpy nurses that are zombies or monsters and rusty pipes. That's what it seemed to be for a while. I was like, oh, don't really. This feels a bit grimy. But yeah, I remember like the fanfare, especially for the second one. I was a big Metal Gear fan, and I think that kind of came out. Must have been around the same time. And I just remember being blown away by the graphics. And to this day, I'm still like, I can't believe that's nearly 25 years old. It looks unreal from the time of that. If you were to take that, 2001, you're talking about like 1978, you're like Star Wars, the original Star Wars time. So that's like vector graphics. The jump is huge. So yeah, 25 years old coming up, wild,
I feel old now, Thomas.
mate. Don't even. I was considering breaking out the Mega Drive the other day or buying one of those little like consoles. I think they're like human size, and you can plug your games into it. I had a Jonesing for after talking about the Power Rangers comic last week. I was like, oh man, the best Power Rangers game is Power Rangers the movie for the Sega Mega Drive, specifically the Sega Mega Drive. The Nintendo one just the Super Nintendo one is just it's poor. The Oh man, the Mega Drive one is unreal, or Genesis if you want to call it that. So,
No, Mega Drive.
100% Mega Drive, 100%. Did you ever know him that it had the third gen one that was like smaller and had the red buttons? That used to freak me out. I was like, that's not right. You remember that?
I do. I don't know any heathens that had it, but no,
Oh,
no, I'm pretty sure my Mega Drive's still kicking about somewhere in the house.
I think mine's is in a box and at the parents' house. So, aye, that's probably worth looking out. Is there kind of anything looking back over the last year? Because I mean, I can't believe, as I say, this has been going for nearly 10 months. But in the last year, has there been any kind of highlights for me personally? It's not been so much about what games have came out. It's about the time I've took to go back and play games that either I didn't give a chance at the time or games that I'd played, but I was like, it'd been long enough where I was like, I felt like, revisiting them. What's your year been like that way?
Alan Wake.
I know.
So that this was the year that I kind of I properly sat down and invested time in Alan Wake 2. If you're talking about creativity in games and stuff just now, uh, you're not you can't beat Remedy for what they're putting out. Just the fact that their shareholders allow them to keep developing these absolutely mental games, but they all kind of intertwine, and it's not mental for the sake of being nonsense. It's got an overarching story, but very much inspired by the kind of Twin Peaks and modern day equivalents of them.
No, absolutely. Obviously, I think that came up on the Halloween episode where I was like, I just started it. So for me, I'd got the two games for like I think it was £18, which was an absolute steal because that was a month and a half entertainment, which is ridiculous. And playing them back to back the way I did, the first one just overstays its welcome just only slightly. It just slightly. It could have been a little bit shorter. That third chapter, if they just took an hour off that, I think it would have been pristine. But playing it and jumping straight into the second one, having originally waited 13 years, now by the time I played it, 15 years, it was incredible. Like honestly, like it's my game of the year, even though it came out 2 years ago. I, I was blown away by it. Just like you're saying, the creativity. I was talking to my friend Jamie, who will be listening to this, and thanks. He shared these Wrapped, and the Whiskey 7 Hour is one of his top listened podcasts, as is with yourself. I really appreciate that. But yeah, he we were talking about the game because he'd got it. He was, oh, you love it, and it was the bit that we were talking about that's in obviously your Wrapped, the Herald of Darkness. I don't even know what you'd call it, set piece, shall we say? Incredible. Even if
Right.
you don't play it, just watch it. It is amazing.
Like even the performance they done at the Game Awards like a couple of years ago, it's mental, it's creative. The fact that they've got Poets to the Fall doing all the music as the Old Gods of Asgard, uh, really good band, and they're putting out like music that goes very very hard, and you didn't. I wouldn't expect them to go that hard, but like, they don't let up. It's just everything seems to be an absolute banger from them. And that Herald of Darkness, the proper 13-minute version that Thomas can't do. There's like guitar solos that are probably about 3-4 minutes in that at a time.
It's the way as well. If you listen to the 13-minute one, uh, you can tell the bits that when you're playing it, these are the bits if you're just like walking around, it's like, dun 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 dun, and it's waiting to kick in. So that you get like 30 seconds of that, and then the song itself like kicks on to the next bit. But it's just for me, and it was the commitment, and I forget the actor's name, but Mr. Doe. David, I've seen him in loads of. Is it? I was going to say Heyman, but that's the Harry Potter producer. But it's the commitment from the entire cast, and if you've not played Alan Wake, one really bizarre thing that happens is the live action scenes are obviously filmed by the actor who portrays Alan Wake. Physically, the voice is actually done by somebody else, and it, it's because I know when you're watching it, you kind of notice little bits, but it's not in a way you're just like, I can't believe they've got that as perfect as it is, because that's a dubbing that they've done. And the first time I noticed it, because he plays the actor. I'm sure you'll be looking it up, Callum, but the actor is Darling in Control, which is another game set in the kind of Alan Wake universe. Again, we've mentioned it before, but I totally get it.
It's, he does make an appearance in Alan Wake too. He
Yes, yes.
appears on in the television in the hotel when you're speaking to, oh, who's the director he ends up speaking to, who is also just the same actor and voiced by the same guy. So it's, hope they're picking up 3 paychecks for that. So the voice of Alan Wake is Matthew Porretta, and I'll need to give me a second to. It's probably not
No,
interesting to
no,
anybody
no.
else
Listen,
because we're
listen.
talking about
No,
it.
no. It's absolutely fine, mate. But no, it is. It's the creativity that comes with that. Obviously, Alan Wake. We've kind of been waxing lyrical about it, and it's definitely probably the game that I was most impressed with this year. But out with that, are you still a big thing for you that used to do was your game a month? Is that something you're still doing?
Yeah, yeah. So I think I looked harder. I've been doing it. Was it since 2020 or 2021? Uh, I posted on that heathen social media.
X. I say Twitter, but it's X, isn't it?
It's Twitter. Uh, so since 2020, I've done a game a month every month, and next year I need to kind of focus more on doing some PlayStation titles because I have a ridiculous backlog of games for like, the PS4 that I've not even touched yet. But this year I kind of marked off like a few of the ones that I really enjoyed or that take me a while when like, I kind of seen them as accomplishments actually getting them done and finding the time to do them. So the big one was like Clair Obscura Expedition 33. That's it's doing the rounds again because it's award season, and I think every award that it's going up for, it's fully deserves to be in those classes because it's that kind of creativity and just not following the cookie cutter COD formula that they've been doing for years. I finally completed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth last month. Was not my favourite game. I loved the original Final Fantasy VII, but Rebirth far too bloated, far too many side quests, artificially extending the life of that game to the point where it just wasn't enjoyable for a long period of time.
I remember that.
Eh,
Sorry, just to. I remember when that came out. It was 2020. It was just at the beginning of COVID, and I think it came out at the right time because people had the time to play that. I think if that had came out at like any other time, where people were not in their house because they had to be, I think that would have. I think that would have got a doing. People were just ready for it. It was the same way, and not to the point that it would have been detrimental to the game. But I was going to say Stardew Valley, but what's the Nintendo? The Tom Nook
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. That was huge, but I think it was made bigger because of COVID and what that entailed. And I think, as I say, the reception of Final Fantasy was particularly praised because people had 100 hours a week to spend gaming.
Well, that was remake.
So was
That was part
was Rebirth
one.
then? Oh, so this
Re-
isn't part one?
so they've turned it into a trilogy.
Ah, right, okay. My apologies there.
So the whole of Final Fantasy VII remake is like a 40-hour game. But if you were to play the original Final Fantasy VII, it's only the first 3-4 hours of the game.
Like
But they've
that boggles my mind. How does that how do you extend it so artificially to get that? I mean, is it grindy? Like,
that's a little bit grindy, but they kind of develop a lot more of the characters that they lose in the first like kind of 6 to 8 hours of the game. They get a bit more screen time. You get to learn who they were as people. Uh, there is a couple of like, walkabout fetch quests and stuff, but a lot of it like it doesn't that doesn't feel as artificially bloated. Like when so I got a loan of my friend's PS5 to play Rebirth Part 2, and he messaged me and said, "You're going to message me cursing, and it's going to be at a specific part of the game. I'm not going to tell you what, but you'll know what it is." And I got to a bit where you've got a kind of wolf companion called Red, if you've never played the game,
right.
and somebody's like, "I've lost my chickens. Can you get my chicken?" But you can't pick the chickens up. You've got to use this tin can and you've got to drag it along the ground and you've got to lure it. Red, just pick it up with the neck and pull it and bring it back. Like, but no, you've got to get 5 chickens apparently and you've got to lure them back. But if you get into a fight and you're fighting for too long, the chicken loses interest and runs away. I didn't do that quest because life is too short and it pissed me off to no end.
No, I've played Final Fantasy X. I never finished it, but really enjoyed it. But it's because it's like an anthology. You can jump in and out. It was never a game that like my dad MD played. So, and even the people I hung about with were never really into it. It was more like Zelda and stuff. And um, I think the time it was like Majora's Mask. So I missed like the hype for like 7, 8, and I remember is 9 the one that had like the gunblade? It was like ultra realistic looking at the time. No, it was that 8.
That was it.
Right. So I remember having my official PlayStation magazine and thinking the graphics look amazing, no realizing obviously that it's not. But I could never get my head round because at the time, knowing now that it's anthological, an anthology, I don't even think that's a word.
There's no.
I think like I couldn't get my head around. Oh, these aren't connected. These games, and then when they do connect them, it's even more confusing because it's like X2 or something, and I'm like, what is this? What is going on?
Yeah. So if we're talking about earlier, I talked about kind of in the Remedy games that they've got Poets of the Fall doing like epic music. Just watch the intro to Final Fantasy VIII. It's a big operatic number. Talk about games going like so hard out the gate. That's anybody that's played that game is very familiar with that opening, and it's like a classic within the series.
So like not knowing any, I know we're going, this is Final Fantasy chat all of a sudden, but not knowing anything about that series, could I go back and play the original if I don't have 100 hours to spend, you know, playing the remakes or both of them? Can I go back and play the original? Is that available on modern consoles?
what, like the original Final Fantasy 1?
Just say seven,
Uh,
seven.
7, yeah, so you can definitely get that. I've got it on Xbox and stuff. It's on Steam. Pretty sure you can get it on your phone. Uh, it's very much a product of 1997, but because those days you weren't playing for the graphics, you were playing for the kind of story and stuff. And I, yeah, I still go back and play it. It still holds great nostalgic value for me, but I still think it's got a story. It holds up.
No, it's
The other ones previous to that, there was a thing called the Pixel Remaster. So they kind of, I don't know how they managed to touch up pixel graphics, but then slapped like a 10, £15 a game price tag and released 1 to 6 again.
money's money, mate. That's all it is. Sorry, was there more in your list? Sorry for going off in that tangent there about Final
That's all
Fantasy.
right. I've already spoke about Alan Wake. Avowed, actually, I went back and played Avowed, the Obsidian. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. It was really enjoyable. Sank some time into that, and the other one was that I finally get round to playing was Return to Monkey Island. I'm a big Monkey Island fan, and the fact that you go back to kind of the series creators getting a hold of it again and kind of wrapping up the story, uh, bit bittersweet, but yeah, it just very much felt like it's the best Monkey Island is the Curse of Monkey Island, which is the third one, which was not made by the original creators, but it was the first one to kind of go voice acting and became the art style still holds up to this day. Introduced like a couple of characters, like Murray, the demonic talking skull and stuff, and then they went on to kind of be in all the other games. But it's it's, it's just stupid fun and doesn't take itself too seriously.
So just obviously you're talking about that. Is that the most recent one? The one that kind of closes it out, yeah. And
Yeah,
when did that come out?
I got a feeling that was probably like 2 years ago that came out.
Oh, so it's quite
Uh,
recent then, yeah.
yeah, uh, Return to Monkey Island came out 2022,
Oh, there you go.
3 years ago. Yeah,
And so
I got
and was that on Xbox as well? Was that available on Xbox,
so
PlayStation?
yeah, so it was originally came out on Steam and Nintendo Switch. I think I bought it, I pre-ordered it on the Switch, but didn't actually get around to playing it. Then about 6 months after it came out, it was on Xbox and PlayStation. It was on Game Pass up until I think a month or two ago.
Nice,
So
nice.
I didn't actually. I support the developer. I should have probably bought it, but like, it was double dipping a game that I hadn't actually started on one of the consoles.
Yeah, no, like I think that's acceptable. I think you've given plenty of money there towards that. So, has there been any kind of games coming out? Like, I obviously mentioned Claire Obscura. Would that be your personal pick for game of the year?
For games that came out this year, yeah, like it's one of the ones I've had the most kind of joy playing. Can I talk about my preferences quite a lot? Like, have you got a wee list of games and stuff that you've enjoyed this year? Or
Oh no,
we should,
absolutely. No, so much. Like I tried Claire Obscura, and it's just I found it quite hard to get into. Totally like appreciate. I think it's a team of 40 people, and it looks incredible. Like Unreal is just the best, and that's the graphics engine it runs on. It just looks incredible. I think in fact it could be Unity. I was just going back. I wanted to go back and see how I wanted to go back and see what games because I've actually not played a great deal this year. But what I have done is I started off the year and I was just I wanted to go back and just kind of relive the glory days. Uh, we look for the past. We look for nostalgia, and I started off the year by playing the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, not even realizing there was going to be another newer version of that you could play with people on PlayStation and stuff. So played that. And then after that, the kind of 3 points during the year. So the kind of spring, bought the Bioshock collection. So it was basically Bioshock 1, 2, and 3, or Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite. I'd never played 2 before, which was an absolute pleasure to play. Had a great time. Infinite is arguably like one of my top 5 games, love it. Absolutely incredible, very emotional. Could could genuinely like play that game forever. Loved it. I think it's the best, and I think that's quite controversial. I know people love the first one, but I think the gunplay is just head and shoulders above the rest, and the storytelling in Bioshock Infinite is just amazing. The DLC is amazing as well. Totally changes up the formula. Um, Off the back of that, during the kind of early to late summer, I got the I was going to say the Exodus trilogy. It was a Metro trilogy of games. Started the first one of that, years and years ago, and never enjoyed it. Never realised that this is actually more of a remake. So when I got it, I spent a bit more time with it. Really, really enjoyed it. The second one basically takes everything with the first one and makes it even better, which I didn't think was possible. And then the third one, I wouldn't say it was better than the second one, but you can tell it's made for modern hardware, and really enjoyed that. Had a little bit of a break. Just that's when I was starting to kind of move house and stuff. And once I'd settled down and got everything sorted, that was when I got the Alan Wake duology, and played that. So it's been a year of nostalgia. I've been kind of trying to reanimate a time that is no longer with us. Sorry, which is our youth, but certainly I've had a great time going back and playing them. Uh, Game of the year wise, I've not played a great deal of new games this year. I'll be totally honest. If I was going to give any, and even then I've only played it for maybe 10 hours, but it's got its hooks in me, and I can't stop thinking about it. Is Frostpunk 2. Really enjoying that. So, and I'll probably play a bit more of that over the winter because it's very apt considering the weather we're having. So, yeah, no, it's good. Is there anything else like that you've kind of saw this year that's kind of jumping out at you that maybe you've missed? The
I don't know.
delay.
I've kind of played a lot of things on Game Pass and stuff that's kind of jumped out. I was really excited about the Outer Worlds 2 coming out, but I was focused that I was going to do Final Fantasy 7 because I really want to give my pal his PS5 back. But I've completed the game and it's still sitting in front of me just now. But the Outer Worlds 2 is one that I'm going to go back to, but I think I'd just completed a Vowed before diving in, so it was like Obsidian into Obsidian, so I needed a palate cleanser.
No,
So
definitely.
and for some reason, like I've just fallen into playing Starfield, and although that game did not get brave reviews and stuff, I'm I'm enjoying it for what it is. Like there's just something quite relaxing about the game. It's a Bethesda game.
I know it's got that. It's not janky. I don't think. I really enjoy it. I think the promise of like being able to go to any planet and of the scale of it maybe undermines it a little because there's that many loading screens. There is a lot, and it is what it is. But the world itself is great. I'm at a point in it, and I don't actually remember why I've not went back to it, but I was really enjoying it. But I'll just need to give it a go again and whether or not I start it again or I just continue for where I am and just try and kind of reorientate myself. But I'm really looking forward to seeing when it comes. I hope that they do more DLC for it, but it seems to have went all quiet in that front, which is a bit worrying, bit ominous. So
The I think the thing about Starfield is that you've got so many kind of paths and things to go down with your kind of skill tree, what you can level up, that if you want to kind of focus more on your spaceship, then you're probably going to neglect the kind of science side of things where you're going around scanning or the whole kind of social element with your companions. So it's almost as if like you have to double down, just focus on like one path until you've exhausted it, then move down into like the next path and the next path. So it feels like it's kind of padded out a bit with longevity by giving you too much of a skill tree to do.
yeah, no, I remember one of the coolest things I did, and it was by chance, and I know that this has become like quite a popular thing to do. I think I must have gotten a fight with like raiders or mercenaries, and one of them had a data pad and it had the shroud? What's the mercenary you can hunt down? I can't remember the name. Is it the Talon? Basically, it's like Space Batman, and
The Mantis.
the Mantis, that was it. And I remember doing like that, and it felt like I was breaking the game because you go do a side mission that I was probably about 10 levels lower than really what I should have been doing it. And when I cheesed my way through it, I basically hid in a corner and managed to kill the robots that were in the Mantis's lair. You get his ship, and I've basically changed the ship. It looks nothing like it was, but obviously the game doesn't really recognize that. And when you beam into like a system and there's raiders there, and they're like, "Oh, the menace!" and it's like they run away for you, and that's pretty cool. Like those wee things, like that's a nice wee touch for Bethesda. That I really appreciate. That you don't get with many games, and it gives you that sort of feedback. There's nothing better than when you get a gun at the beginning of a game and you modify it to a point it looks nothing like what it used to, but it's your gun. And it's the same with the ships and that. You can really go to town with the different companies as well, to make it look the way you want. So yeah, no, it's very cool.
I didn't use the Mantis ship once I got it. I just see I think the original starting ship, and then I went in and I moved the front like quite a few blocks forward, and I moved the back quite a bit back, and just filled it with cargo containers. So like I'm going about, I can carry like 10,000 pounds worth of like cargo in my ship, and I'm just a flying space freighter.
No, I know. I've seen the creativity of some people making like basically like like either a Millennium Falcon or the Enterprise or what was the other one? Firefly as well, which I'm like, how do you even who has the time or the knowledge to do this? Incredible. So no, definitely it's a game. If you've not played it since its launch, it's well worth playing. I think I've not even played it since the land vehicle was launched. Whether or not it's good or not to drive, I don't know. But
It kind of makes that uh, exploration on planets a bit easier. Like
mhm.
if you know how if you saw something like 900 meters in the distance, and you're like, right, okay, and it's just like desert. There's clearly nothing in between you and that 900 meters. Just jump in the ship and you do it in like less than a quarter of the time.
Aye,
But I would say it doesn't really help if you're going on like really, really low gravity, like moons and stuff, because you hit a rock and then it takes like 5 minutes for the car to kind of settle back in the ground, and you're like, I'll just walk.
no, no, I can imagine, man. I can imagine. But it's worth jumping back into a couple of other games that I'm like are massive, and I've just not been able to finish. The Hogwarts Legacy, that game is unreal. But once I get to about 30 hours in a game, and I'm talking about like over the space of like a month and a half, I really find it hard to continue. And that's with the issue with like a lot of these kind of longer games. If it's like 10 to 15 hours, that's like the Goldilocks zone for me. Once you get over that, I start seeing the game systems and the kind of the cycle, and it starts to kind of become a bit repetitive, even if the story's really good. But the world it creates and just wanting to be there, especially this time of year, it's a very comfy wintry kind of game, especially when it is set during Christmas at certain parts of the game. So that it's one that I'll definitely look to pick back up. Um, and kind of going forward, obviously, I had all my money set in Grand Theft Auto coming out in May. So unfortunately, that's not there. So I'm hoping that there's plenty of things to kind of keep us occupied until then, and I'm sure there will be.
So what I'm hearing is that between now and its launch, you are going to be doubling down on your Microsoft reward points so you can get Grand Theft Auto for free.
Basically, that's it. I will be lucky enough to get like half off. Hopefully, if I can get more than that, great. Especially if it's going to be costing in the right region of £90 to £100. So, yeah, no, I will do everything in my ability to do that. So, aye, no, it's been a year. I think it's been quite random. Like I'd said to you, it's not been something that I've not been playing a lot of the newer kind of games. I think even with yourself, there's been a lot of throwbacks. Clear Obscura being the kind of outlier there. There's not been like many new games that we're playing in the last like 12 months that have came out in the 12 months. It's been like older stuff. I think that's just indicative of the time it takes for games to come out now. It's difficult to jump in. Sometimes you just want a bit of comfort and going back and playing something that you know is good rather than taking a chance on something that might be good. That's a
So we
gamble.
mentioned I mentioned earlier, I was just sitting playing Fable 2 earlier. That was just, I just wanted to listen to the music because you kind of get a decent version of it on Spotify.
Oh,
All the songs last like 20 seconds and that's it.
of course, because it's I don't think it has the soundtracks on there, has it? I don't think it, because
Uh,
I think Danny Elfman done the music for the first one, so
he's part of the second one as well.
is he? Aye, it was very good.
But just load up the start menu and you've got that really kind of light, airy, ethereal music.
Yeah, no, it is very good. Obviously, we spoke a lot about games and stuff. Extracurricular activities. Is there any films? Or I was going to say, is there TV? The only TV that really is going on now is Stranger Things. Are you watching that, or is there any other kind of things you're up to? What's happening in your world right now?
So TV, I've watched the first two episodes of Stranger Things season 5,
Hmm.
and I spoke to you about this as I was watching it. Enjoyable. Like I think they waited a good amount of time. I think they're putting out a product that they are happy with rather than
Hmm.
it's probably the benefit of being on Netflix. Ooh,
I know, I know.
Thomas doesn't like Netflix.
I like
Uh,
I like Netflix when when Netflix is Netflix, they are, I'd say, just a rung, just only slightly below HBO. I think when they fire in all cylinders, but then you'll get when I put the TV on today, it goes to the main menu and it has adverts for all the different ones. When you've got something called the My Secret Santa, and it's basically Mrs. Doubtfire, but a woman dressing up as Santa Claus, and it's a romantic movie. That's the kind of crap I'm talking about. Like this is what I'm saying here. Netflix, you need to sort that. It's not for me. It's for somebody else.
have
But
you not watched the Lindsay Lohan Christmas films that have been out the past few years?
after my Irish luck, I had to drop off the Lindsay Lohan the hype train. No, listen. They're just not for me. But they were back in the day. That would have been on like Hallmark. I think that was a channel in Sky or something. You know, it would have been like a Channel
You
5 at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
still get Hallmark films. I remember during lockdown, my wife must have watched about 60 Hallmark Christmas films that year. So the other thing that I have been watching is on Prime Video, which is one of the biggest shows in the world right now, is The Mighty Nine. It's a animated version of the Critical Role campaign too.
I've,
Uh,
I,
give it a watch because some of the voice cast in it is amazing. They've got like Lucy Liu, Alan Cummings, Mark Strong.
oh, we like Mark Strong. Mark Strong's a good guy.
Mark Strong is a fantastic actor.
Sorry, so
Uh,
just taking it back there. What's it called?
the Mighty Nine,
The Mighty Nine, like number 9.
no, like nine.
The Mighty No.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
uh,
That's the joke.
so is I'll be honest, and I wasn't sure if you're being sarcastic or not. I've not heard of it. Is this big? Is this like a big show?
It's like Amazon's biggest program right now.
Is it? Well, considering
Go
Fallout's
check
starting in a week, so that'll be it'll be holding the
it.
fort now. I'll go and check it out. It sounds like Mark Strong. I'm there.
Mark Strong was in it for the very first episode, but you don't have to be clued up in Dungeons and Dragons. The other show they've got is the first campaign of Critical Role, The Legend of Vox Machina. It's got a much more serious tone than that just now. As it progresses, like I imagine the lightheartedness will come in a bit, but that this was the full start to finish campaign that they did when Critical Role first went on Twitch and stuff. They were halfway through a home game. Instead of starting again, they just carried on and they got a bit messy. But this is really good storytelling, and the story was kind of shaped by the players. So, uh, yeah, like give it a watch. You get that, then you've got Fallout coming out next week. Looking forward to that. I was
Yes.
tempted to give the original a rewatch, but I don't have the time. I'm addicted to audiobooks and stuff just now. So
I think I'll watch the last episode of the first season, and just that will be enough to kind of get me up to date. Because there was a wee bit of filler in the first season that you were like, it was good, and it was good table setting for what it is, but it's not like, you need to go back and remember that, Matt Berry done the voice of a Mr. Handy. Like it's fine. Really good scene, but with the fingers, it was cool. Really looking forward to that myself as well. It came out, I think it was April last year, so it's nice to have something in the same kind of, year, like a year later. Maybe it's closer to 2 years, but we will take that. That is a win.
Apart from that, films, I think the last thing I saw at cinema was Tron Ares.
Listen, that was good, by the way. I enjoyed that. That was a good. That was a 7 out of 10. That's a good film.
As I said, Jared Leto's robotic acting definitely played to his strengths in that film. That film.
Listen. I don't mind Jared. Like I don't mind. I don't know what the. I see a lot of people saying a lot of things online. I never knew that was a thing. I liked 30 Seconds to Mars back in the day, and I liked him in some movies. This so-called or My So-Called Life back in the day. That was a massive throwback. Um, and I went in with very low expectations. I saw the kind of butchering and reviews of Tron Ares, and I came out pleasantly surprised. So maybe the low expectations helped, but I think it was good, and I think he was fine in the movie. Whether what he does in his extracurricular activities is up to him. So, um,
Moving on swiftly.
yeah, exactly. We're trying to keep this PG, boys. Going back just quickly without spoilers and that, how you finding Stranger Things? Like you said uh, you're quite happy with it. Is there anything right now? Just you're 2 episodes in. No, really. I think there's a lot of we mentioned earlier table setting. I think there's a lot of table setting because there's so much needing to happen in the first 2 episodes. Is there anything jumping out at you like I like that, or I'm not too sure? Like what's the kind of thoughts?
I like the kind of character art they've done with Dustin. Like so far that he's kind of becoming more like Eddie.
Mhm.
He's stopped giving a crap. He's kind of grown a backbone. He's kind of standing up for himself. Where he's always, I think, if you just kept him, but his character arcs properly coming on. And fair enough, he had like the girlfriend in like series 3. He had that weird kind of song number in that series as well. But no, like very much adolescence is hit during this very strange
Or things.
kind of time, stranger things, where the so I don't want to give away spoilers and stuff. Just of
I, I
the
think the
kid,
first two
it's
episodes are all right. I think it's only up until the last maybe 5 minutes of the second one that you're like, right, this is the series kicking off and that. I like the idea of I love the little names they call stuff like like obviously they do use the D&D. Now, is Vecna, is that a character for D&D? Is that
Vecna is there's an item called the Hand of Vecna,
aye?
uh, and oh,
Well, you're
she's
saying that like
she's
he's got like a big horn, isn't he? So maybe that's what that
uh,
is.
the big horn of Vecna.
Big horn of Vecna.
Big horn, big horn.
I know. I was going. I was
Uh,
on. There should be like a Scottish D&D, and it's like big horn, and then I was like, "Hi, driver."
uh,
Oh, sorry, I've lost it there. I've lost it.
because the other characters like the Demogorgon's like a it's like a giant in it, and
It-
then you've got the Mind Flayer.
I was going to say,
It,
you said they
and
were
if,
a big part of three, Baldur's Gate 3. Is that right? Are they the kind of squid looking things?
yeah, so
Ah,
they basically put a tadpole in your brain, and then that tadpole infects the body, and you turn into one of them.
nice. In fact, I don't know I don't know where I've saw this. I don't know whether it's been on YouTube Shorts or something, but is there like is there an animation of somebody turning into one? Is it Faye like Baldur's Gate or something? It's like a kind
Quite
of night.
possibly, yeah.
Aye. No, that listen, that is pretty cool. I quite like that. I like it as well. Obviously, they use the terms for that D&D. And playing watching the movie. Sorry, the Thieves Among Thieves or something. I quite enjoyed that. And there was a lot of kind of references to like it was the Upside Down, but it's the Underverse or something it's called, or something to that extent. Um, I like when they call things like the piggyback at the end of season 4, and the idea of the crawl, which is like something that has to happen in the first
Or
episode.
dungeon crawl.
Aye, that's exactly. I was just about to say that's a little things that like to me. That's quite clever. It's like it's cute, but in a good way. You're like, I see what you did there. That's pretty cool. So I'll allow it. But yeah, no, I think that weekend there, I rewatched season 4, and then immediately went into five. Aye, five. That's what we're on. And I just thought it's great. It's weird though going for four. I think four was maybe a wee bit too long. We'd spoke about Alan Wake, one being a wee bit too long. The last episode, the piggyback, is at 2 hours 40 minutes. That's ridiculous.
The Creepers feature length.
It really is. I think the last episode they've just announced that it's going to be 2 hours 5 minutes, which is good. So if every if well, let me try it again. If every episode is around an hour and a half to 2 hours, that's like you're basically getting a movie.
Well, that's what the BBC Sherlock was. Like every episode was 90 minutes,
Or was it?
and it's BBC, so there's no breaks as well. Like, every episode was a film, and that's why there was only 3 per series.
Yeah. Aye. Well, you think about it, like with that. So, aye. No, how many series was there?
I want to say 3, but possibly 4. Maybe
Right.
3, 3, 4,
Mm.
3.
I like that.
Enter a postcard.
As as long as it doesn't insist upon itself. No, like when it's that length, even the episodes that were really long with Stranger Things, like I was never bored. I was just like, God, this is a lot, and it gives you that. It's almost like a director's cut when you watch like director's cut films. Sometimes you find that the shots maybe linger, maybe 5 seconds longer, and that's a good thing. But when you're watching it as a general audience, sometimes you're like, I get why editing's so important, and that's the only thing I would say about like season 4. And I think 5 is not like that at all. There's a lot of exposition in 4 where you're like, that could have been cut down or didn't really need to be said. Um, but I'm all in. I'm 4 episodes in. No spoilers or anything. It ends and I'm just like, right, let's go. We're ready. We need to wait 4 weeks. That kind of Mr. Bean meme just stoning at the edge of the like so
4 weeks before the rest of it comes out.
well, it was 4 weeks. It's 3 weeks now. So when we record this, it's 3 weeks before Christmas. It comes out here on Boxing Day. I think it's at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in America. So technically Boxing Day for us. So we watch it Boxing Day morning. We've got 3 episodes, and then the following week, Hogmanay or New Year's Day. It's one of the two. It'll be New Year's Day. We get the last episode, which is 2 hours 5 minutes. So.
Man, if I knew that, I wouldn't have bothered started watching it yet.
Aye, listen, it's good, man. It's good that the episode, the sorcerer is the fourth one. It's brilliant. The last 10 minutes is just like, here we go. It's like the table setting's been done. This is it. So aye, you're in for a treat, man.
I'll have Fallout to watch in the meantime.
Yeah, well, that's I was saying to Lauren and I, we always like to have something running, and we like to think ourselves as quite upper market when it comes to the television. So we always like to have an HBO show running, and we've done this year. We've done the Sopranos last year. We'd done 6 Feet Under, which broke me. I cried like a baby at the end of that. I rewatched the last episode. I was editing a show. It must have been like episode like 24, and I just put the last 10 minutes on my phone and YouTube. I started crying. I had to put it off, man. It's really broke me. And then we were watching The Chair Company. Have you saw that? It's the most bizarre thing you've ever seen. If you want to be messed up, watch that. And we'd ran out of stuff, and we are like, right, what do we watch? Forgetting Fallout's coming up, so we started The Leftovers, which is like pretty depressing, but like really good as well. HBO. So yeah, no. Also, that this is just coming to my mind. I was reading today, HBO Max is coming to the UK March 2026. So
I'm aware of that because you have mentioned it on the podcast.
well, there you go. So that it's been confirmed though. It's coming. It was coming next year. They weren't sure when, or they never told us when. But March is when it's coming. So you can get rid of your Sky and just get your HBO Warner Brothers straight away. I know I don't have it either. I don't have terrestrial or console telly. I'm plugged for the system, man. No, nothing for me. So, aye, no, it's good.
So, so Bizarre TV. My wife, for some godforsaken reason, wanted me to sit down and watch a TV program with her, and that program, I gave it 3 episodes and gave up. Was the classic Monarch of the Glen.
What is that the one with was is Tom Baker on that?
I gave up after 3 episodes.
Why Monarch of the Glen? What's going on there?
I think she just had some kind of nostalgia. Like she was in her mum's and her mum was watching it, and she was like, "Oh, I can't remember how some of that. Do you want to give it a watch?" And I was like, "Okay." And so we kind of stopped watching that, and then we started watching a program called The Great with
Oh,
Nicholas
classic.
Hoult and Elle
Right.
Fanning.
Is that not a bit raunchy?
Right, but it's cool. I think we're about halfway through the first series, and it's just Nicholas Hoult plays a really good character with zero redeeming qualities whatsoever.
He's getting good at that with Lex Luthor as well. If you see kind of some of the stuff he pulls in that, so maybe he's the guy for the job. So
Maybe. But apart from that, no, I've just been kind of doubling down on books and stuff, as I was saying earlier.
so books wise, what have you been reading? Or is there anything you would recommend?
So I've read quite a few like brand new books this year. So the big one that I was waiting for was released December last year, and it was called Wind and Truth. Now this is part of Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive. Now
You have
Brandon
mentioned this
Sanderson,
previously.
you have
I remember that. Yes.
so the Sanderson has wrote a thing called the Cosmere. Now it's like the MCU on steroids. It's interconnected galaxy like that where each book series takes place on a different planet and it's all heading towards some overarching story. And the difference is that this guy has a chronic addiction to writing, so he will get this finished. Like he's probably put out maybe close to like 10 odd books since George R. R. Martin last put out a book. Plus, not to mention, he's responsible for two of the three largest Kickstarters of all time. The biggest Kickstarter of all time is his Secret Projects, where he announced that he's doing 4 books. He's self-publishing them, so he's not going through Amazon. He got something like 42 million, and did not release. Like prior to that, had not released a single word of a book that was getting released. And there's probably only 2 authors on the planet that can do that. You've got him, and you've got Stephen King.
That
That's
is
probably two.
so he got 42 million on the promise of a book, nothing else, no premise or anything.
Four
Four,
books.
oh,
Four
sorry.
books.
So four books, 42 million. You're no, that's it. I'm not telling you anymore. It's just give me that and I'll show you.
Yeah.
That fair play. I mean, and
And you know what? The books didn't disappoint.
so are these 4 books in this Stormlight archive over the
Three
Cosmere?
So 3 of the 4 are in the Cosmere. There is Trace of the Emerald Sea, which is probably a really good starting point now. That's probably like a really good jumping on point. It's kind of light-hearted, sets a good tone. It's told from a kind of narrator standpoint and after the events. The second one is the non-Cosmere book, and it's called The Frugal Wizard's Guide to Surviving Medieval London. That's my next holiday read. The third one's called Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, very much inspired by kind of Japanese culture and Final Fantasy X. That was a big inspiration for him writing it. That was the one he wrote for his wife, and out the ones. First one he kind of wrote for himself, then he wrote one for the lols, I suppose. And then the fourth book was The Sunlit Man. So the Sunlit Man is kind of takes place and starts to kind of tie together parts of his Stormlight archive and his Mistborn and other things. This probably means absolutely nothing to a lot of people, but the so the sorry, cats are fighting out in the hall just now. The Wind and Truth that came out was the fifth Stormlight book. It is absolutely massive. It's probably longer than the Lord of the Rings trilogy for word count. Uh, as I mean, all 3 books in one. It's it took me a while to get through it, but that's just because I was actually physically reading that and not listening to it as an audiobook. So I had to stop doing everything else. And I think I read the second half of that book. I just powered through it because once I got a rhythm with it, I couldn't put it down. Another book was The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Now, Joe Abercrombie is an absolutely fantastic, grimdark black comedy writer. Nobody writes kind of characters like he does. It's usually characters that have zero redeeming qualities, but you always get their inner monologue, and you realise that these people are all broken and they all hate themselves, and usually delivered in a really funny way. Uh, I would highly recommend The Devils because a good it's a new series with one book out, and it's a good jumping on point. But you've got the First Law series as well, which has some absolutely outstanding characters. As audiobooks, I would highly recommend them as audiobooks. I know audiobooks can be a bit divisive for some people, but if you have a 45-minute commute to work one way,
Yeah, yeah.
then you can get through an hour and a half a book a day. Uh, but the narrator for those books is called Stephen Pacey, and he is like god tier narration. He's a really talented voice actor. And I think I've mentioned this one before, but other one I was going to shout out was Dungeon Crawler Carol.
Oh, you have mentioned. Aye, you were telling me about that, but I just I've just not had the time. But I try and listen to all my podcasts, and then after that, I'm like, right, I'll get on to something else, and I never have the time. So, just to go over a bit of that. We're talking about dungeon crawling. Is it D&D adjacent? I suppose.
So it's a lit RPG, literature RPG.
Mhm.
So somebody going through the events of what you'd expect in games. So Earth has been taken over by uh, aliens, and people have been forced underground into these dungeons as part of an intergalactic reality game show. But people level up, you get achievements, you can get items and stuff. The game's kind of overviewed by like an AI, and the AI is kind of creepy, but the whole book's got a really light-hearted tone. There is some kind of serious moments. There is some kind of pulls on your heartstrings a couple of times, but the overall it's like it's so easy to listen to. It's like because it's concepts you're familiar with, like the experience and the level up and the loot and the achievements. It gives you like where you would look forward to that in a game. Like you look forward to hearing that in the book as well, because overall you get listening to that as an audiobook as well. But the narrator, so it's just new achievements every time he beats a boss and stuff like that. Or but you get different loot boxes, so you can get like, the lucky bastard boxes for like just absolutely getting by the skin of your teeth. You can get a backstabbing bastard box for being a player killer and stuff like that. So that's really easy to listen to, just because I think it's got the gamification thing for it, where it's so easy to slip into because it's just concepts you're really familiar with. It's not like listening to any other kind of fantasy book where you've got to learn like magic systems and understand. And your characters are called like Carol and Agnes and weird things like that. There's a cat called Princess Donut, but like it's not like where you're all Brienne of Tarth and
Aye.
uh,
I was going to say, like that's one thing with Game of Thrones. It's like the amount of characters that sound, like Ara and Yara. You're like, oh, the overlap with one another, especially with like the North. They always seem to have a lot of characters that you're like, God's sake, like Brandon the Breaker, Brandon the Builder, and like Bran, and you're just like, oh God. So no, I get it. No, that's good, man. No, that sounds really good. And are they on like? Is it Audible? Is that what you would recommend it?
so the the Dungeon Crawler Carol audiobook is an Audible exclusive.
Right.
But the kind of the Sanderson ones, you can get them via Spotify. They'll be on Spotify to listen to with your kind of premium memberships as well. As I say, like the Joe Abercrombie one, The Devils, that's I didn't really go into the concept of that one in particular, but it's so instead of being in like a kind of high fantasy made up world, this is like a fictionalized Europe, but with like magic setting, where I think I read this back in like April or May, so please forgive me if I've got stuff wrong, but I'm pretty sure the kind of foreshadowing was that elves were coming because elves were dark, kind of cannibalistic creatures that had taken over the African continent and pushing their way towards Europe. So they were the big boogie men in the shadows. But I don't want to give too much away because if you want to listen to it, you want to listen to it. It's just I found it really enjoyable, and then
No,
I managed to persuade like my whole D&D group to listen to it as well.
I think the only term I would really call them, and it would be like a faux historical. So it's like, you know, like something where it's like, or for instance, we're talking about games. If it was like Wolfenstein, which is like World War II, but you know, a bit of a twist.
Alternate reality kind of thing.
Yeah, aye. So it's like kind of your faux historical. I think it came from the Doctor Who episodes, you know, where it was like you're meeting like Genghis Khan or something like that. But yeah, like that sounds that's actually sounds really. So is that the Devils? Is that the one with the dark elves coming from Africa?
Yeah.
Right, sounds good. Sounds really good. Looking obviously this is going to be going up on the 6th. We've only got a couple of weeks really to the end of the year. Is there anything in 2026 where we close this out that you're looking forward to, or what are the kind of goals for 2026? Is there anything kind of coming up or that you've set for yourself? That's a heavy question, I know, but I like
It's,
I like I like to keep you on your toes.
I don't generally do kind of resolutions and stuff. Like I just live your best life. That's kind of what I've always kind of thought. But be able to get Grand Theft Auto 6 if it ever comes out. That's probably. And there's been rumours of the new Cyberpunk finally going into development. So that'll be, but I think that's 2030 that's going to come out. So
That makes me so sad. Although to be fair, it's only 4 years. I keep seeing things on like my YouTube shorts, and it's like 2016 was a decade ago in 1 month, and I'm like, oh my god, things were brighter back then.
well, we waited 8 years for Cyberpunk 2077. Like,
Aye, aye. Well,
uh,
that's true. That's true. It's mad when you think about that, like just the timescales from like projects. You know, like for me, I don't know why I always do this, but 2003 was like it was my last year in primary school, giving away ages and stuff here. But yeah, it was my last year, and then 7 years for there was to 2010. That was when I left school. 2003-4 was the last year. Sorry, like it was a season 2003-2004 for me. So
are
my
you? Did you leave school in 2004?
no, I left primary school in
Oh,
2000.
sorry.
Uh,
I'm getting really confused.
I was shaving then, so I probably could have left it, you know, and got away with it. But I always think like those 7 years, like so much happened, and then from 2010 to 2017, felt like it went by in a blur, and now 17 to 24. Sorry, 17. What would that be? Quick maths. You know, it's going through. So it would be 2024. And I'm like, where has that time went? I feel like it's all fun and games to you hit your, you know, kind of mid to late 20s. And then you're like, guys, can I just like get off the bus for a wee bit and take a wee break here? Because this is freaking me out. So yeah, 2030, 4 years away. It's really not that long. But like you said, we waited 8 years. I mean, 2020. I mean, I don't want to bring it up in that, but we're nearly 6 years removed for the 19. You know, that's scary times. So,
I was going to say it was 8 years and like until Cyberpunk released, but you're probably talking about it was like 10 years before it was actually the proper game that they wanted it to be.
oh god, I know. I remember that first trailer, and it was like ultra serious, and it was like the woman with the mantis arms, and then there was like a trailer, and it was ultra serious as well, and like the art style changed slightly once the kind of it got closer to the time, but I'd need to go back and finish that. That's one just I'd played it enough on X before the updates had came out, so I've not even played it for the Xbox Series and PlayStation 5 version came out. So
Because I keep getting a lot of things about. I didn't realise that one of the people that developed the game is called Mike Pondsmith, and Mike Pondsmith actually created the original Cyberpunk Red TTRPG.
oh right, okay, is that the I think I listened to an interview with him because I didn't
Mm.
realize that there was one. Obviously, what is it? So I get mixed up with the names in Blade Runner. So it's Cyberpunk 2077, is it? No, that's
That's the game, yeah.
right. And then the board game was like 49 or something. Is that right? Like
So
2049,
I think the original one was Cyberpunk Red,
right?
and then I think the second iteration had a number after it. Maybe
Right.
I want to say it was like Cyberpunk 20 something, 2029.
Yeah. Aye. No, it's very cool, and I'm sure creating something that was a tabletop board game to then see what it's became with regards to cyberpunk and the state it was launched to what it is now, arguably one of the greatest games ever made, and the sales numbers reflect that. That's crazy, crazy.
I'm just really glad that it got like the people coming back to it, and it got kind of the second lease of life, because that could have absolutely tanked CD Projekt Red.
Aye. I think as well, and it's not an excuse, but I think they'll be given a bit more leeway because, say, whatever is it, the new Witcher comes out and it's maybe not optimized the best. People will they'll have that cash back in the bank. They don't want to spend it, but if they need to, they're like, look, we will fix this. And they're really good at looking after the people who've purchased the game. So that's quite good to know.
As far as I think I think they're developing like an extra wee bit of DLC or an update for The Witcher 3 still, and that's been 10 years since that came out.
I know. I remember being in London when we were away to see the Quantum Break, and we were just walking, and you were talking about like how the cobbled stones we were on reminded you like somewhere in The Witcher, and then you were telling me about like some of the stories and stuff, and I am still yet to play it because it just intimidates me how big it is. So
Yeah, it's one of these ones that if you want to do all the side quests and everything, then it's going to take you like the kind of 60+ hour mark. If you want to just get on your horse and ride about for days on end, you can do that as well. But you could probably bash through the story quite quickly in your 20-hour sweet
uh,
spot.
no, definitely, man, definitely. I'll need to give it a go. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is there anything else on your book list, book watch that you want to bring up, or is there anything about 2026 that you're wanting to bring up?
I hope Fable comes out. I'm looking forward to the new Fable.
Definitely. No, 100%. That's Playground Games, arguably outside of like obviously the big ones like Nintendo and well, I was going to say Rockstar North, but Rockstar's like one big studio now. Um, I would say they're probably the most consistent maker, like with the like see up there with your Insomniacs. I know they only make like they've only made the Forza games, but they are like Forza Horizon. They are a Avengers level Justice League of gaming driving games. You know, they've got the best for Bizarre Creations, Codemasters. If you go back, you can see their lineage back through Project Gotham and especially the Colin McRae Dirt games. So I'm over the moon. I know it's racing; it's a totally different genre, but I'm very much excited with the kind of. I'm sure it'll have like the Monty Python British kind of sense of humour as well, which is ideal. I don't think another studio could have done that. So
I kind of hope Rare was going to get it. I thought Rare would have done a good job, but they've kind of been tied up with the longevity of Sea of Thieves, and then there was Everwild, which I think's been totally canned now.
yeah, yeah. Disappointingly, I think Rare of maybe 15 years ago, I think would have been a shout just because, like you said, they would have had the time. Whereas now it's just I think they're Sea of Thieves and Sea of Thieves only, unfortunately. But yeah, no, the talent that they had at one point was second to none when it came to quirky video games. So no, that's a good shout.
Like,
Hopefully, Grand Theft Auto and Fable would be perfect.
I know a couple of the Lionhead people went over to Rare once it closed down. Remember
Yeah.
speaking to a couple of people at EGX one year when Sea of Thieves was coming out. But no, apart from that, have you got anything yourself that you're looking forward to? Let's flip the question back on you.
No, I think I would really like we were talking about books. I would really, you mentioned George R. R. Martin. I would like Winds of Winter. I would like it. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not really one. There's few books that'll go out my way to like be like, right, I need that day one. I would put my way to get that. It's been, I think by this point 15 years, and I think by his own admission that's just far too long. Like I know he's had writer's block and stuff, but that's crazy. I hope I get that. I hope the House of the Dragon and the Duncan Egg shows are really good. I'm kind of on a bit of a Game of Thrones kind of binge at the moment, as or Tyrion talking about it here. But yeah, Tirade. Sorry, Tirade. I was thinking of Tyrion. um, but yeah, just kind of see what happens. It'll be interesting to see. Grand Theft Auto Fable, huge. Forza Horizon is set in Japan, which is mondo exciting. I'm very much looking forward to that. I will be Tokyo drifting round all the corners. Other than that, I'll be honest, mate. Just looking forward to seeing kind of what happens. 2026 is going to be a banner year, so just looking to kick on. Hopefully, continue the podcast the way we're going, and just continue to get really interesting guests and conversations, and just continue to grow it naturally, which has been a good thing. You kind of taught me how to, I manipulate's not the word, but how to use the Facebook algorithm. Like post your links in the comments, because if you post it in the actual post itself, it can be considered spam. So little things like that. But no, just enjoying and taking my time, and yeah,
What's
just
advice that I got from somebody else? I'm not taking credit for
oh,
that.
no, absolutely.
No.
You told me, and it came from someone else. But yeah, no, just doing that, mate, and just aye, hoping the world is just a slightly happier, less cesspitty place than where it has been recently. So, but we can
It's
only
not.
do our best to date that. So, yeah.
It's not. Escape into a book.
Aye, that's it. That's it. I'm looking forward to these elves coming from Africa. See what happens there. But listen, mate, as and I mean this genuinely, it is always a pleasure. You're always there when you get asked, like, would you like to come on? And I know it's your days off and stuff, and we've both been suffering for burnout. I'll be honest, it just everything kind of took its toll. So it's again just an absolute pleasure having you on, and many more to come, mate. I hope you'd be up for that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure being asked. And yeah, I don't do much. So if you're if you're wanting back on, give me a shout. If people don't want me on, then, then,
It, it,
then I'm probably going to come on.
don't make it weird, mate. Don't get no. Listen, it's as and as I say, I mean, it is a genuine pleasure just having you on and having these conversations. But let's uh let's wrap this one up. It's been brilliant. If you want to get in touch, you can do that by reaching out at contact@thewhiskeysourhour.com. You can also get in touch with us on our socials, just at the Whiskey Sour Hour on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to give us a little subscription, you can follow us on Spotify or any your podcast dealer of choice. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, which always goes a long way. I just I genuinely love doing this, and it's always a pleasure to come on and just be there on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock. So just thank you for listening. I've been Thomas Waddle. You've been listening to the dulcet tones of Calum Petrie. Thank you very much, my man. If you want to
Thank you
say
very much.
something and jump on, nice, because the delay in here is just a nightmare. But yeah, thank you very much,
Well,
Calum Petrie.
I'd actually muted it, so but thank you very much. Yeah.
No, actually, says, hold on. No, you've been listening to Calum Petrie. I've been Thomas Waddle, and this has been the Whiskey Sour Hour. Cheers.